This is one of the most useful videos on my channel for anyone who owns an R36S, R36XX or R36H handheld. If you've just bought your console or just want to learn more about the options and firmware setup in ArkOS, this video is for you. As always, I want to start with an important tip. After you're buying R36S, I highly recommend swapping out the stock SD card for branded ones. The default cards are really low quality and can fail at any time. In the description of this video, you'll find a table of compatible SD cards, and I personally recommend Kodak cards. I've tested them myself, and they've never let me down. By the way, I already made a video on how to install ArkOS on a new SD card for Mac, Windows, and even Android users. You'll also find an update installation guide linked in the description box. Now that we've covered the key info a lot of people overlook, let's dive into the options menu on your console. I've just flashed a fresh ArkOS build to an SD card, so I can show you the main settings I usually change right after installation. First, go to Device Type and select your console. Mine is an R36S. This same option works for the R36XX, while the lower option is for R36H or O30S models. That makes sure the system applies the correct control layout for your device. Next is 351 Files. It's basically a file manager for simple file operations. I never use it, I prefer doing all file work on my MacBook. The next item is Change LED to red. This lets you change the power indicator light to red. And selecting it again switches it back to blue. Another handy option is the time settings. Here you can adjust the time and date. I rarely touch it, but if accurate time matters to you, set it here. There is also File Manager, a classic two-pane file manager that makes copying files easier. Network info is next. It shows useful details when you're connecting to Wi-Fi with an adapter or on the R36XX, which has Wi-Fi built in. Another important one is remove files with underscores. When you copy games to your SD card, you might see stray files with names starting with an underscore. They clutter your game list and get in the way. This menu item deletes them all at once. I use it pretty often. The next option lets you set a static boot image instead of a GIF when you launch a game. Select it again to switch back to the default GIF. I also made a video showing how to set a custom boot GIF, and you can download my GIF from my Telegram channel. The link's in the description box. Subscribe there for more tips and extras. Another option lets you replace the launch image with a short video when a game starts.
Who wants to play video games?
So you can customize the console however you like. Update is one of the key items. When connecting to Wi-Fi, you can update ArkOS to improve performance, add features, and fix bugs. I recommend reading community feedback before updating to avoid potential issues. The Wi-Fi menu lets you connect to your network, and Wi-Fi toggle lets you disable the Wi-Fi module if you rarely use it. That's especially useful to the R36XX to save battery. Now let's go into the advanced section. First is Backup ArkOS Settings. This is great once your console is fully set up. The backup file is saved on your SD card under Easy ROMs in the backup folder. Clear Last Played Collection lets you wipe the recent games list, handy if you've been testing or if you're setting the console up as a gift. Controller Tester checks whether all the buttons, sticks and the D-pad are working correctly. Use it if you suspect a button isn't responding. Next is one of my favorite settings, Enable Quick Mode. If you haven't turned this on yet, it will change how you use the console. It automatically saves your game when you exit using the Function plus Start shortcut. And when you launch the game again, it resumes exactly where you left off. It's incredibly convenient, definitely give it a try. The next few options let you reset controller or emulator settings back to default if something stops working or if you accidentally remapped buttons, which happens a lot with PSP games. Resetting the PPSS-PP settings can really help. The last menu item will be familiar to many of you. It lets you switch the system to read games from a second SD card, if, like me, you prefer to keep your collection separate. As you can see, the console reads the card and all the games show up on the main screen. You can always switch back to the primary SD card in the same menu. People often ask how to store games on the main SD card alongside the firmware. It's easy, copy your game collection, like the one that came with the console, to the SD card that has ArkOS installed. Inside the EasyROMs partition, you'll already find directories for every retro systems. You can copy the entire collection or just the games you want, just like I showed in my video about using a second SD card with the R36S. Do it however you prefer. I hope this video was interesting and helpful. If it was, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I wish you pleasant nostalgia and successful completion of your favorite games.